If groups like Coffy would not take a stand, the path for Gary is the path that we see now.
Too many of our youth are just involved in large areas of violence, whether it's in their home, their school, their community. Their resolution to problems tends to be through violence.
I don't think we can pick up the paper during any particular week and not see some graphic illustration of how violence is impacting our young people and our families in our community, and not just in our community, but across the country.
People say our kids don't listen. It's not that our kids don't listen. Maybe our kids are on the internet and we talking in a cup with a string. Maybe we still writing notes, putting in bottles and throwing it out in the river. Because everybody else talking to the kids where they are.
I believe that an adult and a child can show more communication together by the adult taking more involvement in their child's activities. You know, go to their baseball games, go to their football games, you know, just sit down and talk to their child.
I think that this conference is important for the city of Gary because it will help parents and children create a bond, and for the parents and children to understand each other more.
There's a need for this type of a conference so that we can, number one, share information with both adults as well as young people. And then secondly, so that we can all come together and begin to formulate ideas, begin to network, to begin to have dialogue on how we can stem the amount of violence in our community.
This conference is so important because we're losing our youth to violence in the streets. I mean, the numbers are staggering.
The primary purpose of this second Youth Violent Conference is to increase awareness of the problem in the city of Gary and to develop strategies to address it among youth workers and youth-serving agencies in the city.
The reason this is a great opportunity for the Barden Gary Foundation to partner with Coffy is because it allows us to pool our resources together to provide some positive programs for students in Northwest Indiana.
Well, I think it's extremely crucial for the Crisis Center and Coffy to have an alliance because both of our agencies really target the same type of individuals, you know, predominantly youth, at-risk youth, and the idea for both of us is to give these kids the tools and the resources they need to improve the quality of their lives and, quite frankly, to just say no and have the courage to walk away from violence and not to commit any destructive decisions.
I think it was important to have a conference like this in the city of Gary because many students here don't believe that they could go to their full potential since they don't have that many resources here. And it's important to show them that they can do what they want to do.
One of the things that we found was the Boys and Girls Club, Workforce Development Services, some of the other faith-based groups as well as community-based groups. We're all working with some of the same children and some of the same families. So we wanted to make sure that we invited Saturday as many youth that wanted to participate to get this, but on Friday, adults. We wanted adults to be there to hear this is what is happening in the young culture.
I think violence is wild because a lot of parents don't take concern to their children. A lot of parents and elders don't look at the youth and see that there's a problem. They ignore it.
It's time to look at problems in a different way. And more importantly, it's time for us to hold everybody in our community accountable for what they're doing and what they are not doing. From the schools to the police, to the foundations, to the communities, and everywhere else.
I really liked the big opening speech by Mr. Mackey. It was very inspirational, and I think it touched a lot of youth.
I would take that there's always something you can do. If it's just reading a book for an hour a day, there's always some skill that can be leveled up until you master it.
Our message to the community, and this is Coffy's message as well, is that, okay, here's our goal, to make our children successful. We don't care what part you play in it or which particular piece of it you're going to own, but we all need to do our part. So, the faith-based community, the private sector, the government sector, certainly the nonprofit community, and parents and families.
The community has to take a stand first and foremost against that which is wrong and that which is right, and make a decision on what we want for our children, and then start to implement strategies around what we want for our children.
All aspects of youth violence prevention will be covered during this event. That's why it's a 2-day event, and that's kind of why we separate the adults from the youth, so that we can give the appropriate message to each group. So we are looking at the problem holistically, and so that we can address them methodically.
We're just trying to stem the violence. We can no longer sit by the sidelines and say, hey, you know what, it's just a generation lost. We don't believe that, and that's what this conference is saying. We don't believe the reports. We don't believe what's been said.
We're the generation now, and I feel if our parents and our communities help us all together, we can do something for the younger kids that's coming up without parents, or parents having their kids at a younger age. We can help them and give back just like Coffy gave to us.
Today's conference, I thought that Mr. Mackey did a good job on giving us his perspective on how he accomplished his dreams and how far he went in life, and he never gave up.
Today's event was mainly an inspirational experience for me, and it brought me a lot of encouragement knowing that even though we have hard times, we have troubles in our lives, that we can still overcome that and be what we want to be.